It is the year 2007, and the place is Thika Town. Viewers, I went to college in Thika Town. That is why most of my stories revolve around Thika Town. So I was working for an organization somewhere in Thika that I'm going to disclose the name. And I was just newly employed as an accounts assistant in charge of payables. And now, after having joined the company in the year 2007, the company wasn't doing well. The company was on its downward trend. The company had suffered a major loss, and even the payment of salaries was delaying. For example, the salary for the previous month, you could get it after 3 weeks. So after 3 weeks, you are being paid the salary of the previous month. So now I have been employed in this company. The company has made me to be the company bank agent in that first year in the month of September. Now, we were in the business of exporting flowers to Europe, to India, and to those European countries. So we were being paid in form of dollars, in form of euros, and in the form of pounds, because we had a customer in UK. Now, so every time we have sent a consignment, we had negotiated with our debtors, our customers, a 2 weeks credit period. So every time you have sent flowers to Europe, to UK, to India and those other countries, we could wait for 14 days to be paid. Now the company, as I have mentioned, it was making losses, it was on a downward trend, had taken a loan from the bank, one of big banks in this nation, and to be precise, it has taken over 200 million loan. So our Kenya shilling account had a loan, and the company, because had a problem with cash flows, it had defaulted. So it was not making installments every month as it was supposed to be. So what we used to do, because it was now to be survival for the fittest, we were supposed to survive either way, even if we had a loan. So what we used to do, viewers, in this episode, when the customer has just sent us a remittance that he has sent money to our account, let's say $10,000, $20,000, or 15,000 euros, or whichever the amount in the foreign currency, we used to go the day the money is hitting our account. Very early in the morning, we leave. Because I never knew how to drive, I used to go with the driver or my boss. We used to go with him to Thika Town to withdraw the money. Now, there are some things that used to happen then and today. I wonder how we used to do them. Because even affording 50 shillings for parking was a problem. But we would rather have somebody move around the streets of Thika Town to avoid parking. The things that today I wonder, the fuel that we were consuming going around, rather than paying just 50 shillings for parking, we could not even use common sense to pay 50, rather than having somebody going around the town waiting for us to finish the banking transaction to come and pick us. Now, we used to go to the bank around 9, 10 there, and because these are money coming from a different country, sometimes it takes time to hit the account, because it has to go to through central bank, then to our local bank. So that process, you could find money delaying to hit our account. So we just enter the banking hall, we go direct to the cashier, we ask, have money hit our account? He says no. We don't go anywhere, because we know if this money will hit our Kenya shilling account, it will be consumed and we will not be able to pay the bills that we were having at hand. So we go and sit somewhere on the waiting bench. We keep ourselves busy on our phones, playing games, or or just Googling something as we wait. After a few hours, again we go check if the money has hit account. If we are told no, we wait again. But the time we are going to the bank, we have already negotiated the exchange rate. We have the confirmation email, such kind of. So now, at 1 again, even we don't have money to go for lunch, so we just sit in the bank. So at 1 again, we go to the cashier, we ask, has money hit our account? No, we wait. We used to sit in the bank from 9 a.m. in the morning or 8:30 in the morning until the time the bank closes. We were known in the Thika branch as the customers who wait until the bank closes, because we make so many rounds going to the cashier asking if the money has hit the account or not, until it is 4 p.m. So the bank closes, but we are still inside with hopes waiting. And now when the money hits the account, let's say $20,000, we withdraw them in the form of dollars, then we give back the money to the bank, now to be converted away from the account. Because if it hits our Kenya shilling account, the money shall be consumed by the loans. So we do it outside the Kenya shilling account. We get money in cash. Those days, when I was from the bank, if you meet me on the streets, you will think I am size 8, because the pockets are full of thousands, even the socks, even the jackets, everywhere is money. You, in one socks could carry 300,000, another one 300,000, because I stuck in front, side, behind my leg. So the whole foot carrying 300 to 400,000, because we don't have to leave cash behind, because it will be taken away by the loan, and we want to survive. We want to pay farmers, we want to pay suppliers. We were even not honored by suppliers to give them checks. Instead, we were supposed to give them either banker's check or we give them cash. Now, one day, viewers, the money that I was going to withdraw was too much, until even the director decided to leave me alone with that money. The owner of the company decided to leave me alone with that money because it was too much. It was about 4.6 million in cash, Kenya shilling. What I did, fellow colleagues, fellow viewers and investors, I went outside the bank to the market. Those days we used to have paper bags. I bought a paper bag, I bought some sukuma wiki and stacked money inside the sukuma wiki and put some more sukuma wiki leaves on top. So when you see me in town just walking, you think I'm carrying sukuma wiki, but inside that bag there was 4.6 million Kenya shillings, walking with it to my house where I used to live in Makongeni Estate. Now, viewers, when I left that company, the year 2010, I just hear that the person who came and took my position, when he was sent to the bank to withdraw 400,000, the day they sent him to the bank to withdraw the 400,000, they never saw him again. He just disappeared. The next time they look for him, he is already armed with lawyers and the police, because he had consumed the money and he was creating a story that he was hijacked and the money disappeared. So in this episode, viewers, I want us to discuss about how to manage your employees. How to manage your employees. When you manage your employees well, they will even be able to handle well that your finest client, that your finest customer. Because if you micromanage them, they will also micromanage your finest customer. The customer who is close to your heart. The customer that you will never want something bad to happen to. So today in this episode, my fellow viewers and investors, I want us to talk about employees. Now, somebody said the greatest asset of the company is the employees. Why? Because the employees are the ones that will produce the desired quality that your customer so wants. The desired quality that your consumers of the products that you produce, they so desire. So therefore, employees becomes a key component of your organization. In our job interviews, when we go for interviews, we are asked, who is the most important person in any business. Most of the time we respond by saying customers and we forget about the employees, because if the customer is the key person and there is no that employee who works on that product, that employee who spends hours working on that product that the customer is coming to buy, definitely the customer will not exist in that company. So what are we saying? The employee is a very important asset a company can have. And anytime you get a good quality employees, make sure, work it out to retain them. So today I want to discuss the things that motivate those employees to stay on board, those employees to make sure that you don't have a job turnover in your organization. Now the first one, somebody said that money is not everything. But in this episode, I want to tell you that money is also important, just like any other thing. Because if it is not for employees, then why should be people looking for jobs? I want to submit to you today that if money is not as important, if money is not equally important like any other thing, then why are people looking for jobs? So remuneration, viewers, is a key thing also in terms of motivating your employees. Please do not pay your employees peanuts. You find some organizations, an employee is, let's say, a truck driver. He is carrying, especially these exporting companies, because I have worked with exporting companies for quite some time now. Now, you find a driver driving a trailer worth 50, hundreds of millions of money behind that trailer truck, taking flowers to the airport, every day carrying 100 million, every day carrying 100 million to the airport, or 10 million, or 20 million, or 50 million, whichever the amount. But at the end of the month, you are paying 5,000, 10,000 shillings to this employee. Look at it. Come to think about this. Are you not putting this employee into temptation? Viewers? So make sure that you remunerate your employees so well that even when they are working, they are satisfied. They are not thinking about how will I pay my house rent. They are not thinking how I'll pay my child's school fees. They are not thinking what they will eat for supper. But if you pay them well, they don't have those thoughts. They don't have the thought for rent. They don't have the thought for food, the thought for school fees. Instead, even they will produce more. They will work hard. They will even make your company to succeed. They will make your company to go up because they are remunerated well. Now in this episode, I also want to discuss about working environment. Now, another motivating factor is the working environment. Most of the people in Kenya, when you ask them, in which company would you like to work? Most of them straight, they will tell you Safaricom. Why? Because Safaricom has created a good working environment. And I'm not suggesting that it's only Safaricom in Kenya, in this land, that has a good working environment. There are other companies. But in this episode, I want to give an example of Safaricom. Now, I want to give an example of ladies in this point, as I explained to you viewers, that working environment is very critical. Now, ladies, when they give birth to children, you find most of the ladies, they resign to go and take care of the children. Because nowadays, with the increasing crimes, increasing violence, no one wants to leave his or her child to another person. We have had events whereby house girls are beating children. They are molesting our children. So you find that ladies, they have to resign, go home, take care of the children, and once the children have grown up, they now begin looking for employment. So if you have a good working environment, you have set up a baby crèche, you have set up a place where children can play, you will be able to sustain your employees. Even your employees will not bother looking at the neighbors, what they are offering in terms of remuneration, in terms of anything. Instead, because you are giving them an environment where they come with their children to work. At 10 o'clock, they go and breastfeed their children. At 11, they go and feed their children. That working environment is so good that this employee of yours will not even think of leaving you because of just working environment. No one wants a bad working environment because an employee is with you for 8 hours. 8 good hours, the employee is in your compound, is in your organization. When the employee reports at 8, he will leave at 5. And sometimes, because of workload, they leave at 5:30. Now, what does it mean, viewers? It means the employee is in your premises for more hours than he is or she is at home. Because when the employee leaves at 5, maybe they travel at a distance before they reach home. They spend another almost 30 minutes to reach home. And when they reach home, they begin cooking, and by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. they are asleep. So the time they know themselves, the employee knows about himself or herself is at your workplace. Because most of the hours at home, the employee is sleeping. So please, I want to submit to you today that make the working environment to be conducive so that that employee will produce what you want. So that that employee will be active and produce what you desire. So viewers, working environment is very critical. Now, another factor that can motivate your employee is flexibility. Flexibility. Now, you find some employers, they are so fixed, just like I don't know, mountains. They cannot move. If you make the working environment flexible, in that some employees will prefer coming at 7 and leave at 4. Other employees will prefer coming at 8 and leave at 5. Others will prefer coming at 9 and leave at 6. And others will prefer working from 6 to 5 so that they don't come during the weekend. Now, if you are flexible enough, if you make your employment environment, your organization be flexible, your employees will be happy. When you do the happiness index, it will be very high. And they will be happy working with you. They'll be happy even when they are working on that production line. They'll be happy when they give you that finished product, because you are working within, your organization is working within their desired timelines. So flexibility, investors, flexibility, viewers, is a very critical component when it comes to managing your employees. Another factor that motivates your employees, viewers, is autonomy, not bureaucracy. Autonomy, not bureaucracy. Now, you find some management, when they were employing an employee, when that employee came for an interview, that employee sat in an interview for an hour, for 2 hours, for 10 minutes, for whichever the time you were interviewing your employee. And you found that this person you are hiring has met your desired qualification. This person you are bringing on board has satisfied you. He has the skills. She has the skills that you so want. The skills, management style that you so desire in your organization. You have now brought in the staff. You have brought in the individual to come and work to that function that you employed him or her to perform. You find that now, instead of allowing this person to produce what is in his mind, in his skills that you wanted, you want to micromanage the staff. You want to micromanage the employee. Let's say it is growing. Let's talk about growing. You have employed an agronomist who knows the structure of drugs. He knows the pesticide that you need for which product, for which disease. He knows the pesticide for which growth stage of your crops. The employee knows the kind of seeds that you need to grow, for which altitude, for which climate. the employee knows because he went to school and he was trained to be an agronomist. I want to ask you viewers, who teaches the fish to swim? Who teaches the bird to fly? There is no one. Because when they grew up, when they were born, that is what they went through. And swimming is the nature of a fish. And flying is the nature of a bird. There is no one who trains the bird to fly. Just like Albert Einstein says, you cannot judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, because the bird was never trained to climb any tree. The bird was only trained to swim. So, if this agronomist that you are employing, if this accountant, if this doctor, if this nurse, if this engineer that you are employing, he was trained to do that specific function, why can't you allow that person to perform in the field that he was trained? Why do you want to micromanage that employee, that staff, to a point that he cannot deliver on his mandate? Why should you micromanage that staff to a point that even he cannot think? So I want to submit to you viewers and fellow colleagues that management style that you put in place should be that allows an employee to perform his function and not to micromanage that person. Micromanaging a person will not make that person to produce. Production will go down. And as we talk about factors of production, we talk about land, we talk about labor, we talk about capital, we talk about entrepreneurship. You will not get the fruits, the outcome of the factor of production called labor. You will not. You will only pay a salary, which is salary and wages, but you will not get that desired production. So please, investors and viewers, do not micromanage your employee. Let your employee be autonomous. Give that person authority. When you delegate, you don't delegate because you want to delegate everything. You only give responsibilities. You don't delegate your authority. If you are the employer, you don't delegate your authority, but you delegate responsibilities. Let that person be responsible enough. Let that person feel that when I am seated in this seat, I am able to make decisions as per my authority. As per my authority. If you are the managing director, you have your own authority that this person that you have employed will not surpass, will not go beyond. So allow your employee to make decisions within his area or her area of jurisdiction. So viewers, another motivating factor is recognition. Recognition, just like a child. When a child does well in school, you can buy her mandazi. When a child does well in school, you can promise her a trip outside. Maybe take her to an animal orphanage, a game reserve. You take your child to some playing games that children like merry-go-round, like swimming, like skating, all those. Just like a child, when he does well, you give such things. So employees, human beings, as we were created, when we were created with a heart that needs to be appreciated, even by a small thing. I don't tell you to give that employee a mountain of things. Just recognize that person. Just use words that appreciates that person. We were all created to be appreciated. So just use words that appreciates that person. When you appreciate that person, he will feel that he is recognized. He will feel that my employer, the company that I work for, appreciates what I do. That if I do this, my employer will appreciate me. He will feel good that I'm doing what he wants me to do. And if you appreciate tomorrow, if I did this part and I was appreciated, this employee tomorrow will go a notch higher, because he wants to be appreciated more. So if you appreciate in small things, the employee will do the best to produce more so that he may be appreciated the more. So appreciating and recognizing the efforts of your employee is very key when it comes to motivation factors. So I want to submit to you viewers that recognition, appreciating is another factor that motivates your employees. Recognize them, appreciate them. I want to tell you this, viewers and employers, that number one, there is no person who was created to be equal to the other. There is no one. I want to give you, to explain this in the biblical concept, where in the book of Matthew, chapter number 14, the book of Matthew, chapter number 25, verses 14 to 30. Now, when in that context, we are talking about the parable of the talents. When the owner was leaving, he gave one 5, he gave another 2, and he gave another one 1. So in this case, there is no one who was given nothing. Everyone was given something. So if you are treating your employees, it is not that this person you are not appreciating, this person every time you are condemning, this person every time you are abusing. He was given nothing. That person was given something. Only that you were given 5 and he was given 1. You are measuring this employee on a scale of 5, yet this employee was given 1. So how can you measure 1 against 5? It doesn't match. So measure your employee according to their standard. And some employers, they are just fond of complaining. Complaining. There is no way, if you take 2 members of staff and you give them the function of cleaning the house, they will never do it the same way. There is one who will start from the left, cleaning, going to the right, and the room will be clean. There is another one who will start cleaning from the right, going to the left, and at the end of it all, the room will be very clean. So please, I want to submit to you today that there is no employee who can do things the same way the other person did. Now, another factor is listening. Now, when you listen, you get feedback. When you listen, you know the criticisms that are existing. When you listen, you get the compliments from your staff. So, when you go to maybe board meeting, you have called a board meeting with your staff, and some of your staff, you don't want them to air their views. You don't want. Only you are dictating to the end. These people will not feel that they are welcome in that meeting. Their efforts are not recognized. Their inputs are not important. These people will feel demoralized. And production, if a demoralized person, a demoralized employee, production goes down. So therefore, listening. When you want to make a decision and you listen to your staff, they feel that their inputs are valuable. They feel that now, whatever suggestions they give, they form part of decision making. So if you want to implement those decisions, they feel they were part of the decision, and they take that decision that you have made with a lot of positive attitude. And when you want to implement that management decision, it is so easy. You don't get any setbacks. You don't get any resistance, because these employees, they took part in the decision making. So listening is a key component when it comes to management. Listening is a key component when it comes to decision making. Listening is a key component when it comes to motivating your staff. So listen, and listen. Now another one is career pathing. When we go to interviews, there is a question that is usually asked. Why are you leaving this company A and you want to join this company B? Or why are you leaving that organization coming to join us? Why should we hire you? And most of the answers that usually comes, people say career development, People say greener pastures. People give so many answers that we cannot even exhaust in this episode. Now, there is no person who doesn't want to grow. Even at home, you began buying one chair in your house. Tomorrow you'll want to buy two. Ladies in their kitchen, when they get married, because it's only husband and wife, and they have only two cups, one for the man and the other one for the wife when they take tea. But tomorrow the wife will want to get 3 cups, 4 cups, 10 cups, 50 sufriyas, and all those kinds of. So there is no one who doesn't want to grow. So if you have come up with a strategy in your organization that any job opening, you don't consider the people that you have in your house, you want to look to the neighbor's house, it is not a good thing. Yes, some will argue and say you want to bring in a new knowledge. Why can't you promote this person that you have in your organization? And if you feel that this person is doesn't have 50% of the knowledge that you want, why can't you invest in this person, take this person for training, improve the skills of this person, and I tell you, even the remuneration you are going to give to this person will not be equivalent to the remuneration you will give to that new person that you bring in. Why should you invest in your own